The Street Corner Soapbox. The Street Corner Soapbox with Falso and Willin. Podcast takeover. We're making a killing. Music to nightlife. Debauchery and street news. Serving it hot. We are some street news, movies and mayhem. The craziest guests, word from chaos. Get it off our chest, Rhode Island, worldwide. Dark corners in all places. Speak how we live, radio show, smoking aces. Ladies and gents, for the people we're talking. Take the show on the road, right where you're walking. Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Street Corner Soapbox Podcast coming to you live. That's right, boys and girls. Street Corner Soapbox. I am back here with my brother, Lord Willin.
Greetings and salutations.
Very, very special guest. International guest, by the way.
Yes, my friend, Bartek Podogrodzki.
Bartek, what up?
Bartek, how you doing, my friend? Straight from Poland, by the way, everyone.
Yeah, straight from Poland, from Inowroclaw. Very nice to speak to you guys. Very glad to be on the podcast. Appreciate that. Really appreciate
coming
that.
on, man.
Yeah, so how are things going in Poland right now with COVID? And why don't you tell us a little bit about the COVID situation over there? I'm sure people will be interested to know how it's going on in another country.
Yeah, I mean, actually, right now we are just before the lockdown. The government is really learning the COVID in the process. So they are opening, closing. That's the way it is. But when it comes to people and illnesses, I think is not so changed in different countries. I mean, we got some cases I don't know. Hard to give you really the numbers because I don't know the statistics.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, it's kind of the same like in Germany and Czech Republic. So we got it pretty in control. We are wearing masks on the streets and all that, and trying to stay safe. But nothing major. Other than probably States and other parts of Europe.
Now, you're actually in quarantine right now, right?
Excuse me?
You're in quarantine, right? You've been in quarantine for the last week or so, right?
Yeah. I mean, me myself, I am in quarantine because my girlfriend, she had a virus. She got a kind of mild one. We call it English version. Apparently, there are some version of it. English one is taking your body not so rough like other one. It's actually taking only parts of muscle around your spine, and you are not having any fever. That's what they're saying. And it's pretty mild and is not so concerning like other kinds of, COVID. Because I don't know what they are saying to you guys in States, but here they are just saying that there is one from Africa, one from England, and kind of, I don't know, just COVID international. That's what they're saying.
Yes. Yeah, same thing. So it seems like the case that your girlfriend has is a more milder version, probably like the one that I had.
Did your girlfriend lose her taste and smell?
Yeah, she lost it, but after 4 days, and she got it. Right now, she got it 8 days, and after 4 days, she loses it. So she's the 4 days without smell.
Yeah.
Which is rubbish, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you're eating everything, and everything, tastes the same. So
that's what
Yes. I was eating a lot of vegetables because I couldn't taste them.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's the point of variousness? Like eating all kinds of. If you can eat only potatoes because they're cheaper, but no.
Funny
yeah,
thing,
we just
Chris's head
laughing,
looks
but
like a potato.
yeah. So but she's doing fine. She's gonna be fine in a
Good
couple
to
days.
hear.
Probably.
Good to hear. So let me tell the people out there how I know Bartek. So a mutual friend of ours, Kuba, he sings.
Shout out to Kuba.
Shout out to Kuba. Big shout out to Kuba. I'm sure he'll be listening to this when it comes out. But so he's a singer for a band.
For sure.
He's a singer for a band called Ball Kick. They're a newer hardcore band based out of the UK, but with roots in Poland. And I was contacted by Andy from the band Dead Man's Chest, a hardcore band from the UK. And he contacted me, and so if people don't know, I'm Polish ancestry. My father was 100%. His family came over from Poland, so I have strong Polish connections and roots. So Andy said to me, Kuba heard your music, and they want to know if you want to do the intro for their new album. And I said, yeah, of course. I mean, not only am I a hardcore fan, but, and for those that don't know, I mean hardcore punk rock or hardcore whatever music.
And you're Polish.
Yeah. So I said, yeah, that's great, man. I would love to do it. So I talked to Kuba, and he told me what he wanted. And I know. Then shortly after that, Bartek messaged me, and we started talking. And we started talking about music and getting to know each other. And, he was looking forward to hearing the intro. And I actually talked to him right before I went to the studio to record it. And I recorded the intro. I sent it to Bartek. I sent it to Kuba and the rest of the band. And they all liked it. So me and Bartek have just been in communication ever since, talking about music. And I'm really learning more and more about Polish culture through my friend Bartek here, which it means a lot to me. Being Polish, a Polish American, I have some other roots too, Irish, French Canadian, but a strong Polish connection for me. And this all happened around the time that my father, who was Polish 100%, passed away. So I feel, thank you. So I feel connection there too, like to my father and to my family on that side. So it's been a very good experience, and it's been good talking to somebody from the motherland, as they say. So, so that's how I met Bartek, and he's a good guy, very much into the music scene, which we're going to talk about in a second. But Bartek, I just wanted to say that, and I want to shout out Kuba again and Ball Kick.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I'm really glad that I met you guys. Obviously, for obvious reason, we cannot see ourselves. But I spoke with Chris recently that when the boundaries going to be open, when the countries will open themselves, we want to fly into States. And hopefully we want to get you guys here also.
Yes.
And not only just to get you, but just to start some projects, some music and collaboration going on,
Yeah, for sure.
Providence versus Poland and Poland versus Providence,
Yes. Now, Bartek, why don't you...
Yeah, that's how I see it.
tell us about your background a little bit, where you're from, again, and what your city's like, and how you first got into music.
Right then. So my city is kind of small, around 77,000 people. In the past, it was mostly based on salt, like a salt city, because we got a lot of salt underneath. So my city got quite a long story of 900 years. It's a quite old city.
Yeah.
And basically, mostly blue collar, hardworking people. And basically, because of blue collar, I think alternative music was appearing here quite quickly, quite often. First I was introduced as a young fella to the punk rock and to alternative rock. I was listening as a kid, like 11, 10, 12, Guns N' Roses. Yeah, actually, they've been my first band, which I looked for as a stars. But the first and the last one, because after them, I wasn't looking for a stars anymore. I was looking just for a fellows and company, people like me, like real people, not like stars in any way. And somehow on MTV, my brother, my younger brother, because I got two brothers and one sister. So by a hazard clip or a Madball clip, I don't remember which one first, but one of them. And we've been like, "Yo, what's that?" I mean, like we like, it feels like something that we never seen before, something which is rebellious, really honest, and really raw.
Yeah.
And we felt like it's our kind of music. It was like describing how we felt about the world, and we've been hooked by it. Like we just loved it from the day first. And actually, till today, like we speaking, me and my brother, both brothers actually, are listening to hardcore still. As me, I'm listening also to a lot of rap and many kinds of music, not related to hardcore and rap, obviously. So, I got quite big perspective for music. And other than that, I didn't tell you, Chris, in a primary school, we've been doing something like a discotheque, but it wasn't discotheque really. It wasn't disco. We just called it disco because teachers call it disco. But actually, we played heavy music, like Rage Against the Machine, like House of Pain, Doki Dog, and in between, when people been like cuddling and dancing to soft music, we've been playing really rough music, and that's when everything started. I was around 14, 15 years old. It was 92 or 93, I guess. So this is when Jump Around, Find My Lyrics came out, and it was just, it blew out. And everybody loved it. Like all the people from all genre, all kinds of music, really, So it became a fashion in Poland, alternative music.
So basically, you guys were in school listening to House of Pain and Rage Against the Machine and alternative rock and heavier music, and that kind of was your beginnings or the gateway to eventually getting into hardcore, and then you discovered Biohazard and Madball.
Exactly. So it started probably House of Pain and Rage Against the Machine. It's been first bands which been speaking about some topics other than different bands like Soundgarden and Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
They've been speaking about social and political topics, and we kind of understood that. We kind of relate to it. And because music was, aggressive and violent, it was a let-off, obviously, of our emotions and feelings, because we all know how school is. They want to just get you down to shape you. And, if you got a character, persona, charisma, you just don't let them to do that, So it was a let-off, a way of, kind of way of escape from the system, just to listen to the music, dance hard, then, just follow let's call it the fashion, the alternative fashion, certain way of look, certain way of behaving. And that's how it started, really.
Would you say that you guys were like outcasts of your area? Like you guys were different from the regular people because of the music you listened to and the culture?
Chris, you nailed it. Exactly, Chris, you nailed it. I mean, you can obviously see us on the street walking, talking, behaving loudly, dressed in certain clothes, and we felt like outcasts. But at the same time, I think through all time we've been quite positive. I mean, all of us wanted to achieve some goals and to have something higher than just, drinking and having fun,
Yeah.
And I think this is what made us different from rest of the bunch, of the people from our generation.
Yeah, and I also think that it speaks to the fact that hardcore is an international, movement. It's and all music is really, but the hardcore spirit, the punk rock attitude, the camaraderie and the family aspect of hardcore. It doesn't matter if you're from the States, if you're from Poland, if you're from Germany, Ireland, wherever you're from. If it appeals to you, it's something that we can connect on an international level.
I can agree on that too, because I didn't know too much about hardcore before getting into this podcast with Chris, bringing on some of his guests and stuff like that he's had, and the camaraderie is fucking huge.
Yeah,
huge. It's all intertwined. It's like like a brotherhood in a sense.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and it's actually dope to learn and hear shit from a third perspective, because it's hard. Think
about it. Me and Bartek connected through hardcore. And we live in completely different parts of the world.
Literally.
Even though there's a connection there with my ancestry and Bartek being in Polish and in Poland, but we connected through hardcore. That was the beginning.
Yeah, it's all networking, man.
Yeah, and as Chris, exactly. Rob, I was in many scenes, like I was in many parties on many shows, and never ever I felt camaraderie, brotherhood, like right, like in hardcore. So even if I went off from hardcore, let's say for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I was in UK for 4 years. I didn't mention that. I was exploring music scene in Bristol, kind of hip hopish, but also scene which got a lot of trip hop. I don't know if some of the people in the States are familiar with this kind of music. So it's like more melodic hip hop, often with female vocal.
Yeah.
It's slightly more trippy. Obviously, the drum and bass, which Bristol is also famous of, and some folk music. Actually, I forgot to mention on one of the shows I met even a New York rapper. Somehow he was just somewhere in the party, and we just like straight away we connect, because he felt that I'm, kind of like from the scene, let's call it. So I think hardcore and rap and hip hop are kind of similar, because we got the same approaches, but just let's call it, we do it different way, let's call it. Mm-hmm. But it's so similar. So people, if you see someone, or let's say on a folk or on a drum and bass show, and he acts certain way, you can feel that he is, this and that. And if you come to him, if you will speak, for sure you're gonna have a, great conversation and maybe camaraderie in the future, even.
Yeah.
So this is what I really like, appreciate, and support, really.
Yeah. And for those, what he's talking about too in Bristol is the trip hop scene, which is some people might not be familiar with trip hop. Do you know about trip hop, Rob? You ever heard of Tricky?
I mean, I've tripped.
You ever heard of, I know you've tripped.
And hopped.
Yeah. No, but so artists like Tricky and and Massive Attack are some well-known trip hop artists. It's kind of like a mixture of hip hop and electronic music and all different things. It's some good stuff.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is the graffiti scene. That also coincides, in my opinion, with hip hop and the hardcore. Definitely. Is that big in Poland, the graffiti scene?
It is. I explained, Chris. I mean, my whole city is bombed with graffiti, but it's not such. Yeah, but it's not such a good quality like in States. I mean, everything is more expensive here, even paints, and obviously with CCTV, you have to just do it legally now, because they will just catch you everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't spoke with Chris about that, but also I got friends which are bombing the trains. But most of those things been happening rather 10, 15 years ago. Right now, if people are doing graffiti, they are doing it illegally after having permission accepted by the locals or by the private investment who is owning the wall. People are not shooting illegally like in the back in the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that Europe, I know in Europe CCTV is everywhere, and here in the States we have cameras everywhere too. I would say though that there still is a lot of what you would call illegal graffiti going on, especially tags and quick pieces and stuff like that. You still see it everywhere, but there is a lot of legal graffiti going on too. Like I recently filmed a music video a couple days ago in Providence, my city, and there's some really big pieces on these buildings that were legal. Like they allowed them to do that. It wasn't someone going there late at night and just putting up their tag or
like more intricate.
Yeah,
they have time.
It's like artwork.
Exactly. Like murals and
exactly shit. Right. So you see more and more legal walls and legal places to paint and do graffiti, which is cool because you don't have to worry about getting arrested or catching beef with somebody, but at the same time it might take some of the fun out of it.
Yeah, the rush.
The rush, right? Exactly.
And also, I wanted to ask you guys because I don't know how it's in States. But in Poland, graffiti is rather related to rap and hip hop. It's not so much related to hardcore. How is it in States?
Well, honestly, with graffiti, hardcore, they intertwine. There's a big influence.
Yeah, I brought it up more as a culture base.
Yeah, well, people often associate graffiti with hip hop, but graffiti existed before hip hop. And a lot of hardcore kids, a lot of hardcore punk rockers were into graffiti even before they got into hardcore. I know some, you know what I mean? So both scenes kind of just go together. I think it goes with hip hop, but it also goes with hardcore. You can definitely associate graffiti with both, and there's a lot of graffiti writers that play in bands that do the flyers, that do artwork.
Shout out to Robots Will Kill.
Yeah, Robots Will Kill, definitely big up. We had him on the show. He's a talented graffiti writer and artist out of New York. Shout out to my brother MQ, Ryan. The legendary MQ, one of the best in the world. There's so many people to name that I could shout out in the graffiti world, but those scenes definitely coincide. Not just hip hop, definitely with hardcore as well.
Yeah, I get you. Here is kind of like is more connected to rap and hip hop. Although, of course, we got some graffiti artists which are listening to rock, to psychedelics, to any kind of music, But it's more rap related in Poland, It's much more related.
Okay, so speaking of the hardcore scene in Poland, can you give us maybe like a brief, like the beginnings, tell us about the beginnings of the hardcore scene in Poland as you know it?
Right, and in my opinion, it all started in about 1990. There was some bands before, but they haven't been calling themselves really hardcore. They've been more like a rough punk rock,
Okay.
Around 1990, there was a band from Bydgoszcz, 1 hour drive from my hometown, appeared named Schizma, as you know, Chris.
Yes.
And before the Schizma, actually they've been called Kompania Karna, which is kind of name of a band. How to explain you? It's like when you are in an army and they descend you, they send you away to a prison, but within army. So this is the name of the band, really,
Okay. Like a military prison.
Schizma. Yeah, a kind of military prison. And Schizma, it means breakout in church or breakout in any philosophy on 2 ways. So Schizma means that you got one thing, and when something got Schizma, it means that it's separated. It's separated. It got one versus another. To explain you the name of the band, and Schizma in 1990, probably they've been also influenced by New York hardcore. The guitarist of Schizma went to States later on, and he brought some influences. But in 1990, probably they saw it somewhere on TV, or maybe somebody from States brought music to Poland. I don't know how it exactly started as a spark, as an ignition, but then from 1990 they've been just starting to record the albums, and it went viral within underground scene. Obviously, there was no CDs back there. Mm-hmm. Mostly tapes and vinyls. So people have been copying to themselves and traveling around on a concert, mostly punk rock, and copying. They've been copying. Then some underground releases start appearing with some underground labels, and that's how really hardcore came out. And then it was spreading. Scene was just growing. Bands been appearing. And in 1994, 1995, you can experience something that we can call scene. So there was probably around 10 bands all over the country, which wasn't a lot, but it was something to start with. Yeah. And it spread out within the years all over the country. But I would say 1990 was the start, kind of.
And Schizma are really the pioneers of hardcore punk rock in Poland, right?
No, I mean rather hardcore, because punk rock was much before them.
All in Europe or just Poland?
Back to what Bartek was just saying. Well, I said hardcore punk rock. I always associate the two. We've talked about that before, but yeah, I mean just hardcore. I mean, even though they're all closely related, but yeah, hardcore is what I'm talking about. And Rob, what was your question?
Were they the major ones in Poland, or was it Europe?
There was other hardcore bands in other countries in Europe, obviously, at this time too, right?
Of course, in Germany there was a band called Rikers. They started pretty early before Schizma. And I spoke with Chris that in Berlin was always the place for music to grow, and place when the new trends, let's call it, been appearing. So Rob, I think Berlin might be the first place close to Poland that started hardcore, but I don't know, unfortunately, exactly what was the date. But I will say probably late 80s, I will guess, late 80s in Berlin.
So Schizma was basically the pioneer for hardcore in Poland, and then it spread across the whole country, right?
Exactly. That's how I see it. But punk rock was much earlier. Punk rock and oi and ska was a little bit earlier than hardcore, So hardcore started slightly later on.
Okay, so now when did you first start going to shows and becoming involved in the actual scene?
Yeah, as I said, we had those things going on in our primary school. Then, shortly after, we saw the video clips on the MTV, and since then we started to make our research, in our city and around, where bands like this are playing. So Schizma was already kind of, well known around. And I don't remember exactly, but we just, went to their concert and we started chatting with the guys and speaking, because I was always very open towards people, and I wasn't a shy guy, if you know what I mean. And I was just talkative, and I just came to them, shake the hand, start talking, and from day one, we become friends. I can say it was a process, obviously, but I just found them out somewhere, and like probably couple months later, after seeing all those bands on the TV, I went with my brother to the concert with Bydgoszcz to see them. It was a trip, 1 hour trip for now is nothing. But when you've been a young kid without a buck, without a zloty, how you say it in Polish, when you didn't have any zloty, you couldn't, go nowhere, So you have to just, do it like somehow. So everything was hard back then, but we managed. We went, and we loved it. We brought it back to our hometown, and then I realized, this is what I said also to Chris, that actually in my city there is a big and infamous crew already, around, I don't know, from around 10 lads, 10 guys, kind of involved for a while. Obviously, most of them around our age, so teenagers, but pretty angry. And one of them was even a second vocal of Schizma later on. And they both made, the guy from my city with Schizma, they made the classic album Unity 2000, which I can say started in Poland a movement of hardcore crews appearing, hardcore bands appearing, and many people at that time came to hardcore from nowhere. Like just they've been just appearing on the shows, like more and more people. So it was the best time around 2000.
So around 2000 is when you really got involved. And did you travel a lot to other places in Poland? And did you travel at all outside of Poland to go to shows?
Me personally, I was traveling a lot to other cities. Remember that it was pre-internet, just before the internet. In 2000. I had everything sorted out. So we had our website, we had a fanzine, a music magazine, but I started around going on shows around 95. So in those 5 years, we managed to build up a crew, get some people to play some local shows at ours, guest them, give them food, make relations, make some connections, and then we've been sending letters to other like bands and calling people from other cities, because it was pre-internet, just before internet came out to Poland, like big time. And in those letters we've been just like exchanging things like we are exchanging now through Facebook, Skype, whatsoever, And we've been going to shows to Katowice, to the south, to Gdańsk, to the north, to Warsaw, to the capital. We've been going to any place which been having really good bands that we knew about,
Yeah, I mean, that's... No, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I wasn't going abroad. At that time, I wasn't going abroad to see our shows,
So you're basically just staying within Poland, but still traveling pretty far.
Yeah, pretty far, I would say. 5 hours by train, 8 hours by train, 4 hours by train, sometimes with a car. Because after 2000, obviously, we had some money. Some of the guys had cars. So we've been just like much more independent. We can go wherever we like, really,
Yeah, I would like to say that I think here in the States, it's similar with people who get into the hardcore scene. They tend to make these pilgrimages to other cities, and travel to see shows, because that if there's a really good show going on 3 or 4 hours away, the mentality is, all right, let's get a bunch of people together, jump in a fucking car, and drive there and to see the show, because you might not see that show in your city. You know, so you want to see all these.
Even your state, really.
Right, exactly. So you want to see all these different bands and stuff. So you know, I think the hardcore mentality is very open to traveling and down with traveling, and let's go, man.
Yeah.
Let's go drive, dude. Let's get in the car, go to the fucking show, and maybe we'll find a place to crash, or we have friends there. You know what I'm saying? And it's really like about community, and you want to become familiar with all the different scenes and the different places.
I mean, we talked to Mick Lambro.
Yep.
Shout out to Mick. And Mick. He's from Australia, and he went to the Black and Blue Bowl.
Right.
And he's traveling to the States to just to see the hardcore.
Exactly.
And deal with,
I think it was his honeymoon or something.
Yeah, maybe.
What up, man? Well, that's another. I mean, let me just say that's another beautiful.
Hopefully, he wasn't escaping.
Well, that's another beautiful thing about, I feel like, the hardcore scene and community. Yeah, is you have. I mean, I see it at the Black and Blue Bowl every year. Until COVID happened. I mean, there's people that, like Mick, there's people that come from all over the world to come out for this event for 3 days, and they've traveled fucking. If you come from Australia, that's like a 20-something hour flight.
Shit.
You know what I mean? So the dedication. In the love is something that you're not going to find in too many other scenes.
No, I mean, Chris, I don't want to exaggerate it, but I will say hardly in any scene, really.
Really.
Maybe some diehard fans.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be a diehard fan to first spend like a couple $1,000 just to travel,
right?
Yeah.
And to book a hotel or any place to sleep, really. And then like all this time in travel. Yeah, it's pretty exceptional, I guess, it's pretty exceptional.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Bartek, do you remember the first band that you saw in Poland that was from the United States?
Live, yeah?
Yeah, live, yeah.
Yeah, live's dope.
You know what? I cannot remember, man. Very hard question, really,
Okay.
Hard to say, really. I mean, I would say maybe differently. For sure, we've been approaching bands from States because they just had different sound and different appearance,
Yep.
They just with it. I mean, they've been just kicking and screaming, kicking harder, screaming louder. You get me?
Yeah.
A lot more
the sound
energy,
was on point. Yeah, more energetic. But I mean, Rob, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if you will meet my boys from my hometown, and you will meet guys from Schizma, man, I spoke with some people which saw Agnostic Front, Madball, and they've been comparing Schizma to every best band that you can imagine. Really, I'm not making up. It's opinion of other people which saw things and been around the world. So, I mean, now it's kind of the same. But in the 90s, like when we are speaking about the start, there was a big difference between, let's say, American band or Polish band, or even a band from Berlin, like Sidekick or Disrespect, and band from States, like Sub-Zero, like 141, like, Agnostic Front, like Sick of It All, because they've been traveling often. Probably it have to be band from New York, but really, I don't want to make it up. I don't remember exactly,
Mm-hmm. All right, so what are some of the bands you've seen from the States? Not the first band you saw, but what are some shows that have come to Poland or wherever you were that, some bands that some good bands that you saw from here?
I mean, Sick of It All, first one which comes to my mind. I don't know if you know a band from Cleveland, Integrity.
Yep.
Yeah, Integrity. Some less known. There was a band, I don't know where they're from. Their name was Shockwave.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
We never spoke about them. What their thing was, they've been inspired by Transformers. You know this cartoon back in the day?
Yeah, Chris loves cartoons.
Yeah, very unusual. I mean, yeah, very unusual. But, you know, obviously we've been all teenagers. Right now it kind of sounds silly, you know, but but back in the day it was really something. I met Rick Alive from Coming Correct and 25 Alive.
Okay.
So we met with him personally. We've been like chatting to him and all that. I remember. What I can say now. I know that Rick Alive. I don't know what his reputation is right now, but at that time he was like I don't want to say superstar, but he was someone, and he was one of the first guys that we really talked to and we hang around. You know, this is what I can remember. So probably he came with 25 Alive or Coming Correct to city near my hometown, to Zlotów. I remember that.
Okay, now I was going to say, did you see Madball and Agnostic Front?
I saw probably, but I don't remember when and where really, you know, because there were just so much shows. I'm just trying to remind myself some. I remember exactly that I saw All Out War.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the band from New York. All Out War.
Yep.
I saw F Crisis from Syracuse.
Okay. Yep. Earth Crisis.
F Crisis. Funnily enough, I don't remember that much Agnostic Front and Madball. I remember Sick of It All. Yeah. Funnily enough, because I always been listening to them from day one, but somehow when always they've been coming, I remember. I saw Madball in Katowice. I remember now. I saw them live in Katowice. I saw them once or twice with Agnostic Front. Let me think. I saw them in Bydgoszcz. And I saw Scarhead also a couple of times in Bydgoszcz and in Łódź. Because Scarhead was coming quite often for a period of time, you know?
Yes. Shout out to Scarhead, by the way.
Yes, I saw them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just curious to see, you know, what bands that you from the States that you were actually listening to that you got to see. And that's cool that, you know, there's a handful of bands that actually came over there and toured. And I've heard tour stories about Poland from a lot of my friends and bands. So I know it's a place that bands frequently go to tour, and a lot of people like going there.
Yeah, and I'm always inviting bands. So I wanted just to say on this podcast that if any band will like to come to Poland and, you know, don't know how to start really, or any rapper or any project, feel free to contact me. We're going to just post the contacts somewhere after the
we'll post it on the site.
podcast.
Yes. So
really, you know, I can help out.
Yeah. So all you upcoming bands out there, or rappers or artists in general that maybe want to, you know, do a tour of Poland, you know, contact Bartek, and we'll put his contact information when we post up the podcast. Now, Bartek, I want to ask you, you had for a while a fanzine or magazine. How did that start? How did that come about? What was it called? And how long did you do that for?
I mean, because we had a crew, Unity 2000, and internet was just start appearing. We've been kind of, you know, we went very easy with that. So we started first a website. It was just called like our crew and album of Schizma. It was called Unity 2000 because the goal was to Unity in year 2000 to reach all the potential in hardcore scene and get as much people as possible from Oi, from punk, from rap, from wherever, just to make it really a big, huge scene. And it kind of worked, you know. So we just started this website, and then I thought my brother, you know, obviously hardcore scene is well known from zines, which are also not existing in rap, rather they are existing in punk rock and they are existing in metal. That's how it is in Poland, I don't know how it is in States, really,
Well, there's always not really so much anymore because the internet's taken over, but there was a lot of hip-hop magazines at one time, most famously The Source,
XL,
Double XL, Rap Pages, Blaze. I mean, I could go on, but yeah, there's always been a lot of hip-hop magazines here, but and some of them were mainstream, and there was some that were more underground, like Elemental and Complex and stuff like that. So you guys decided to start up the fanzine or magazine, and so what was that like?
Yeah, it was 1990 when me and my brother, we've been getting a lot of music from everybody, and we wanted to start first with reviews, do it our way, we start of writing. Then we've been going to shows and obviously speaking with bands. With some of the bands, we made contact through internet because they couldn't come to Poland. So basically, the zine was called Unity 2000, issue 1, and we had many bands. Some of them that are not existing anymore. Like I'll give you an example: a Floor Punch.
Yes.
It was a band from States. We had F Crisis, couple others. Maybe also after end of the podcast, I will just find a cover of the fanzine and I will just post it, just to some people to have just a cover, of what we've been doing and what was happening. And then you got all bands listed. So we had international bands from Poland, we had some bands from Europe, we had some bands from States. And besides reviews and interviews, we had some articles specifically written for our fanzine about a lot of stuff, about ecology, about healthy food, which wasn't that big issue in the 90s, in the late 90s. Vegetarian stuff or vegan stuff wasn't that well known and how you call it? You couldn't just buy it in every shop like right now.
Mm-hmm. Same thing here.
So it was kind of new. Yeah, so it was kind of new for the people. What else we had? We had some translation onto Polish from Integrity booklet. I remember it was well designed. I mean, thing was simple. I was responsible for the graphics, for the layout, for everything. My brother was doing reviews. I was doing reviews. We've both been doing interviews, and there was another guy, which was later on singer of Schizma from our hometown. His name was Gruby. You will call it in translation to English is Fat Boy.
Fat Boy.
Yeah.
What was the word again?
Yeah, but man, I mean, what a persona he was. He was a singer. He was also one of the guy which was involved in many scenes like rap scene, black metal scene, and hardcore scene. So he was also contributing, only few reviews, but he was kind of famous on the scene by that time. So, we like three of us, we had it, like me, my brother, my younger brother, and this guy called Gruby, to English Fat Boy, yeah? So we all just had it. And, we made a 500 copy, which we thought we're going to sell it for 2-3 years. Man, it blew out. I mean, I don't know how it went, but it went viral. About after a couple of months, we didn't have any copy for ourselves, even,
Yeah.
Nothing. And you know what? Actually, I thought it's just a piece of paper. But after 20 years, people are still hitting me and saying how good it was and all that,
Hell yeah.
I'm really surprised, so because you're doing what you're doing really. And then like when people are coming to you after 20 years with reflection or memories of just one simple magazine, it means something,
Yeah, absolutely. Bartek, what was the name of it again? Of the fanzine?
Unity.
Okay, Unity. That's
2000.
what I thought. Okay, Unity 2000.
Can you
Unity 2000, exactly.
What's the difference between is a fanzine, how you say it? What's the difference between that and a magazine?
Well, Bartek, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think a fanzine is something that is made independently, more by the people in the scene, by the actual fans,
gotcha.
not a big company.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, got you.
So it's like
exactly. I mean, yeah, go for it.
No,
please.
I was just gonna say, so it's more community based. It's more
Exactly,
DIY independent. Like if me and you decided to say, we're going to start up our own magazine.
All right.
We don't have the funds.
It's not like a label.
Yeah,
it's not like like a big, like you were saying, source or double XL.
Right, exactly.
Got you.
Exactly. Yeah, Chris nailed it. It's just independent press, Rob. It's like you can start with Chris, let's say, a zine. You can have a 500 copy. But at the same time, if it's going to go viral, you can make 5,000 copy and make money out of it.
Right.
Because some people did it actually in Belgium or in the States, in Germany. People been just like just earning money, of it.
Oh, yeah.
You can in those days, just like independent magazine which went viral, or just independent magazine which end up unfortunately in a bookshelf, or just in a cellar, for some reason.
Give it away.
Yeah. So
exactly, give it away. Exactly.
So how long did the fanzine run for that you guys did? How long did Unity 2000 fanzine run for? How many years?
I mean, as I said, it sold very quickly. So actually, people been reading it and coming back to us for about 1 or 2 years. But then after, I think 1 year and a half, we started to make a second issue. But because of some life circumstances, we just had it online.
Okay.
We didn't print it out because we've been involved, maybe me, high school, my brother something. We've been just too busy. We never put it out. Maybe it was about money. I don't remember exactly. But, and then just different things happen in our lives, and we just kind of quit it. And the whole crew, I don't want to say, it just disappeared. But I mean, all the members kind of been involved, but everybody been doing their own projects, or just, I've been involved with different kind of musics also. So we kind of stopped it for a while, So only two issues. First on a paper, and second only on the internet.
Okay. So it was a short-lived classic. So
very short, unfortunately.
But there might still be some copies floating around in the in Poland somewhere. So anyone out there, if anyone hears this and you have a copy of the Unity fanzine, contact us and let us know. Maybe send us a picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's classic, instant classic.
Vintage. That's vintage.
What I'm saying.
Yes.
Vintage hardcore zine from Polska.
Polska, yes. So let me switch gears a little bit to another music genre we already brought up, but I want to talk a little bit about the Polish hip hop scene. For those that don't know, there's a big and still going strong hip hop scene in Poland. A lot of artists, a lot of rappers, a lot of producers. There's just a big scene out there, and I've worked with a couple of artists over the years from Poland, and I might have some more stuff in the works, which I'll keep quiet for now. But shout out to my friend Raptus, who Bartek also knows. He's a Polish he's played in some bands and he's done some hip hop stuff as well. But Bartek, why don't you talk a little bit about your early memories of the Polish hip hop scene and the groups that started it?
I mean, how I remember it, it was also around 95 when I was into rap. I mean, first of the band which really changed my view on Polish rap was Molesta.
Yes, classic.
Classic, instant classic from Warsaw, from the capital. Like four guys from different backgrounds. Obviously, like let's say two of them from the street, two of them kind of middle class guys. All of them probably living in the blocks, in a council flat. I don't know how you call them in States. How you call them, those like big blocks of concrete.
Oh, like
many
projects, like housing projects.
Yeah. Project, yeah. So like rap in Poland was just born in housing projects, like you got in Brooklyn, housing projects.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So it's kind of the same, similar kind of, it's kind of interesting. I never thought about that. See, it's just because of you. You just brought up this name. But when I was listening to rappers like Necro and all that, they've been always saying about projects. Everything was from project. Like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was living in projects. Like Mike was coming from projects, So right now you kind of discover, projects for me, really, guys. I didn't know that. I always followed
high rises.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
You're gonna teach us something in Polish. The only thing I know is spiritus.
Yeah, we'll teach you. Bartek will teach you a phrase at the end of the show.
Man, Rob, don't mess with police spiritus, You gotta get in trouble.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I do. I do. Usually
Bartek. Rob loves the...
Listen,
he loves
them. Rob, listen. But for sure, for COVID, spiritus is way better than any vaccine, believe me that.
Hey, listen, I haven't got COVID yet because I drink every day.
Rob is big.
Gotcha.
No, I know. Two other words. One is a curva, and then the other one is suka. I call my buddy Suka.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's all I know. 3 words.
Okay.
You gotta teach me another one. I can talk shit.
Well, I'll say this: Rob loves the spiritus. He loves he definitely does.
Oh man, don't mess with that.
Red on fire.
So back.
Yeah. So coming back. So like in 1995, I think one of my friends just gave me Molesta record obviously on a cassette. And I started just to listen to them, and it was like in hardcore. Like I just felt such a brotherhood, such a camaraderie when it comes to lyrics and all those things that they've been through. I can relate to them. I don't want to say street life, but more like life from the projects,
Yes.
And problems from the projects, topics from the projects, So we kind of relate to that. And already with the first album, they made a proper job. I mean, it was proper pro. The beats been really dope. The atmosphere was just till this day when you played this record, Chris.
Yeah.
Because you heard it.
I've been listening. Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of the quality is out of date, the quality of the sound. But I mean, as a concept and as ideas, is still so fresh. I think especially for foreigners like you guys. It just sounds like different, like a little bit odd, but like in a positive way, of course.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about Scandal. You're talking about the Scandal album, right?
Scandal, yeah. So when the Scandal came out, it was just like everybody been like, what the heck is that? It was like House of Pain or something big, like I don't know, LLA Cool J maybe in States. Hard to compare really, because it was really music from the street, but really well thought, well processed, and well made. Let's call it,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I listened to. No, go. I was just gonna say I listened to that album recently, and it has your classic '90s boom bap golden era hip hop sound. Just the Polish version, the same struggle in another country, you know, and another, just like hardcore. Hip hop is worldwide. Now hip hop is going more mainstream, but overall, there's still it still has an influence all over the world.
Exactly. So with Molesta, I mean, it was breakthrough. There was some bands before, but I never paid attention because, you know, why? Because they didn't been so pro, so, you know, professional. And those guys also, the way that they rap, they've been rapping like no one before. Like really, how to? It's hard to explain it really. I mean, they will just everything was well done, well thought, like well processed, and like it was just a proper hit from the streets. Let's call it. You know, it was really hit. And from day when people heard it. The scene been appearing. So bands like Kaliber 44, Kaliber 44, which is slightly bit more psychedelic rap. I can compare them slightly to Funk the Beast.
Okay.
Because they haven't been so into street culture. They've been more like, you know, funk and parties and just having fun. And there was, I forgot to mention even before Molesta, I will speak about two bands. I mean, one is Project Leroy.
Leroy, right?
He was a solo rapper. In early days, he managed to even contact Ice-T.
Oh wow!
And he made in the early days. I mean, in early 90s. He managed to. I think he even got Ice-T to Poland to make some collaboration. So it was really big. But the thing is, Molesta was really independent. Let's call it. It was like a Mobb Deep in States. It's good compare. Like Mobb Deep in States, as Leroy was Ice-T in Poland.
Okay.
Like a rapper which would be really commercial. You know me.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So they went separate ways. Leroy was appearing everywhere in a discotheque, in a radio shows. All those swearing words been obviously beeped like muted. But Molesta wasn't played at all in radios. You know, it was just too rough, to raw, to real. And Leroy appeared. It wasn't commercial music at all because it was heavy guitars sometimes, heavy beat. But somehow radio station liked it, picked it up. So Molesta was from capital Warsaw, and Leroy was from small town, similar to mine, maybe slightly bigger, Kielce. Quite infamous city, run down by poverty and all that. I will give it example to Baltimore.
Okay.
It's like a Baltimore in States, you know.
Okay.
It was Kielce, and besides Leroy, there was one band which I also liked a lot, Wzgórze Japa 3. Which musically I will compare to Cypress Hill, almost exact band, like just different voices and slightly different lyrics, you know.
Okay, cool, man. So okay, I don't know even how to say that, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I know, guys.
So I would say to people out there, if you want 3 good examples of early Polish hip hop, you have Leroy, you have Molesta. That Scandal album is some classic boom bap, and then the group you just said, who I can't pronounce.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, see, he got it. This guy's like, he's picking up Polish like no problem over here. This guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn Polish every day. I've been learning more and more, but some of the words it's going to take me a while to get. But that's another discussion.
Rob,
I'm listening.
Chris, listen. Maybe Rob got some Polish roots.
Yeah, he might.
Possibly.
He might. He's going to be teaching me Polish.
Yeah.
If I can do it better off.
Guys, just please don't do it with spiritus because it's gonna go wrong.
No, we're doing it.
Rob,
once COVID's over and you come to the States, that's the first thing we're doing.
Yeah. Rob does a lot of things with spiritus. Trust me.
For sure.
So Bartek, obviously the hip hop scene has progressed since those early days, which you just talked about. Just quickly, how have you seen it progress to what it is today? And I know you're not a fan of everything that comes out now, and I'm not either here in the States. So maybe just talk about the progression a little bit, and it's become so big.
Guys, I can tell you something. Nobody, I will say nobody, never expected it will go mad. I mean, it's just mad. I mean, everybody are rapping. We got hundreds, if not thousands, of projects.
Yes.
And hundreds of them that are really successful, that they started earn only from rap, nothing more.
Exactly. It's kind of yeah.
We got labels, we got bands, we got solo artists, we got obviously clothing companies, and the people which are shooting video clips. I mean, it's so hard to describe it. We got not enough time. I think the best way for you to really discover it, to see it, is just visit to Poland and to come to some shows and really sing it by yourself, and maybe then, putting it in your own words to the podcast, to your guys in States. Because it's just mad. I mean, it's viral. It's, everybody listening to. I will give you an example. My daughter, she's 11, and she is listening to the same rapper like me. 11.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he is not a soft one, believe me.
Yeah.
He is a rough one.
Yeah.
So this how far that went. Like, my daughter is listening to the same rapper. I mean, Paluch, another great rapper from Poznań, where Peja was starting everything years back.
Yes, Peja.
Chris
Shout out to
knows
Peja.
something about Peja.
Yes.
Yeah. But Paluch is a good rapper worth of mentioning.
Okay.
Because he's doing True School with quite unusual beats, really synthetic beats, but music from the streets.
Okay.
I just made up a rhyme, synthetic beats and music from the streets.
We're going to put you on a track.
We got to record it. So I'm going to put that. I might put that on the song.
You're going to sample it.
Right then.
Yeah. I think people from the States might be surprised at how big hip hop
they will.
is in Poland, and how big music is in general. And I think people in the States might not realize this, but in other countries they have scenes just like we have here, like with television, with pop music, with hip hop, what we just talked about, and even underground scenes like hardcore. I mean, it's everywhere, man. It's not just, even if it started in this country, it's spread all across this world. And this, talking to Bartek, is just a further example of that. You see the passion of the music and the culture, and it's worldwide, man. And I think it's fucking great.
Oh, absolutely.
Chris, I mean, Chris and Rob, you nailed it, but I tell you something. I don't want to exaggerate it, but I think with rap, it might be even bigger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't mean the scale, because obviously states are so much bigger than Poland, and you got so much variousness. You got Latinos, you got, all kinds of people. We got mostly Polish people.
Yes.
But listen to that. Comparing to the amount of the people that live in the country and people which are involved in rap, I really don't know. I am not sure if Poland got more rappers than states.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
now,
there's. I mean, it's the same here. There's so many rappers here, I don't know how much bigger the U.S. is than Poland. I don't know how they compare geographically, but yeah, I mean, there's rappers probably every single block, literally like every street, you know what I mean? Like there's just everyone.
Okay, so it's still, all right, you got me. So it might be bigger in States, but I mean, guys, believe me, you will see when you're gonna come here one day, hopefully soon.
Yes.
That is quite big. Obviously, it's different. It don't involve so much money, and production is on different level. But I think what is interesting, that is just different. And I think you can, as American guys, you can just find a great, amazing influence that you will never get in States. And obviously, let's say if I will come or somebody else will come, and you will discover it, like just being there. You will see things that you don't see on the clips. You don't see in the TV. You will just see like the real life, how it looks like.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want. That's what I like. That's what I want to see.
Exactly. And then you will bring the influence from States to Poland that nobody was thinking of, because nobody catched it on camera, or maybe nobody didn't record it well, Yep. So it's all about different perspective, Exactly. And I think it's all about like sharing, and inspiring ourselves,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I see it.
What I see, I mean, I know hip hop has become very big in Poland, but what I see through music that's international is in a lot of, and we've talked about this before on the podcast with other guests, but I think people in other countries oftentimes have a greater appreciation for the music and culture than us Americans here, specifically talking about hip hop, maybe even hardcore too, because, in some of the countries, the struggle is real everywhere, but some of these countries, the struggle never stopped, and they relate to the realness.
Yeah, never.
They relate to the realness of, say, a band like Madball or Agnostic Front. They relate to the realness of that, and people in the States don't necessarily live to that same degree of struggle. Some do, but a lot don't. And those people, are spoiled, and Americans become spoiled because we have so much. And people in other countries, like you go to South America, like those kids go crazy for bands, for shows, because they have so little in some of these places, Brazil and some of these countries. I mean, Hoya's talked about that, going over there, and it's just, they don't have anything. You know what I mean? So like, to see their favorite band, that might have been the best thing they did all year. You know what I mean? So like, it's just, you guys, I feel like people outside of this country have a greater appreciation, and that allows a lot of underground and independent artists from here to thrive outside of this country.
Yeah, I mean, you've said it, but I'm completely agreeing with you. But also to open your eyes on a subject that also in Poland, some people within those 20 years that we are speaking about, because mostly we've been speaking about like 2000 coming to 2020. So like in those 20 years, people have been becoming wealthy from hip hop, not from hardcore, obviously, but from hip hop. And some of them, they're quite spoiled. There's nothing wrong with that if they earn it. And most of them, they earn it. And obviously, when the nation is struggling, when somebody is earning money, like really big money from music, people are really jealous of it. But what I mean, there are some people spoiled slightly, but just slightly.
Yeah.
But comparing to struggle of East Europe to States, I think is a different world, and this is what you will see and experience as a probably first step coming in here, just the appreciation and just the differences. That everything is kind of a little bit more grayish. I mean, I don't want to judge or say, but you just have to just judge it by yourself. But it's just different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
different kind of struggle, let's call it. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, a lot of a lot of those countries there, let's just say in Eastern Europe, have been war torn for years, and there's been just a lot of conflict and poverty, and that's something that us Americans, now we do experience poverty, but we haven't had a civil war in modern times. You know, the Civil War was hundreds of years ago, before any of us were around. So, you know, to have a modern day civil war is something that in this country we can't we can't even fathom it. You know what I mean? Like people here, but in those countries, their reality for a long time has been war, has been conflict, has been poverty, has been serious government oppression. Like, we talk about government oppression here in the States, but compared to a lot of these other countries, we have it fucking great. You know what I'm saying? Like, in some countries, you couldn't even do this podcast and talk about this.
Oh, no shit.
You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, for real. Yeah. In China, I know it's so far away, and it seems a little bit unreal, but China, they're just like, shut off Facebook, whole nation, don't got it. Or like internet ban. They are just banning internet, connection to internet. I mean, how come in such a modern times when everything is around internet, businesses, like the personal life sometimes, when someone is far away, let's say on a mission or in a job, everything is connected to internet now. Like they are just banning it, like making things abandoned just because they're political purposes, So you are right, Chris. You got a really, clear vision of how was the state of the world address, like how that's been saying in the second album.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, state of the world address.
Bartek, I'm actually on the phone with one of my buddies. He's from Poland. Do you know the bands Illusion or Flapjack?
Of course.
Yeah, and then he says Slums Attack and then Caliber 44.
Yeah, he mentioned Caliber 44.
He told me to say where he's from. RZESZOW. I don't know how to say it. Reswow, maybe? Zizwow he's from?
Rzeszów?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. RZESZOW.
Yeah, I know.
ZOW, yeah. But he was like...
OW?
Yeah, the RZESZOW. Yeah. That's where he's from, I
guess.
Rzeszów.
Yeah,
he mentioned Caliber 44, Slums Attack.
Yeah, Slums Attack's pay is good.
Illusion.
Oh, that's nice.
Flapjack.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. I will just tell you a sad story. Because Flapjack, obviously we didn't spoke about crossover, because Flapjack was crossover of hardcore, rap, and metal, yeah? Like a Rage Against the Machine, let's say, but with a different flavor, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But sad things is that just recently, 3 weeks ago, the Flapjack vocalist died. I don't want to say for sure because, nobody knows really how it was, but died of COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was the band which was influencing my generation for about 20 years. I mean, in every way, lyrically, musically. I don't know them personally, but apparently they've been like really great guys. They've been between commercial and underground, always in between, never commercial, never sell themselves, but selling quite good amount of records, and probably they lived from music. But their vocalist died just recently. They said it was COVID. I mean, that was the official announcement. But Flapjack hopefully will get back, maybe do some tribute, because this band is just so great. But other bands that you mentioned are still playing,
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you remember that, and I'm glad that you got some Polish, people around you.
Well, I do. A lot of my friends in Springfield, where I work, they're all Polish. They're all.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean that's.
My friends.
Western Mass. There's a big Polish community. Yeah,
Yep.
in New England in general, Boston, even Rhode Island. It's more.
Here's some
it's more spread out. Well, in the old days, it was the big Polish community was in Central Falls and Pawtucket, but that's changed over the years. But there's still big, in Boston you have the Polish Triangle. Shout out to everyone at the Polish Social Club out there, the Polish American Citizens Club out in Dorchester. Me and M. Dot, I went out there to see my boy M. Dot, who filmed the video for his song with Slums Attack. Paya, that's coming soon. So I have to give that a quick plug. But so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's sad that he passed away. So rest in peace to the singer of Slapjack. I don't know his name, but
I think he just said Spider. I mean Spider-Man. I think is that true? His name in Polish.
Well,
yep. What, you're saying his name's Spider-Man?
Well, he says Podjack. Is that the guy's name? The guy that passed away. Oh, yeah, he said his nickname is Spider or something. What is Spider in Polish?
In Polish it's Pająk, but he wasn't Pająk. Let me think. I have to research it because I forgot. Yeah, I forgot what was his nickname.
Yeah.
Let me think. Okay, maybe I'll remind myself.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But Bartek, I mean, obviously, I've been talking to you now for a while, and there's a lot of Polish Americans. There's a lot of people who've come to this country from Poland. Places, I mean, we've talked about it. I think you said you have a cousin in Chicago. Chicago has...
yeah, I got one.
Chicago has a huge Polish community. New York, shout out to Greenpoint, Brooklyn. I've been out there for shows, Black and Blue Bowl. Huge Polish community. There's a great Polish restaurant right next to the venue. So definitely Polish people have made their mark here in the States and continue to do so, myself included. So I just want to say that there's a lot of Polish pride in America as well.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, I remind myself the name of the vocalist. Sorry,
okay. No,
his name was Guzik. Guzik is not Guzik. Yeah, is not Spider at all. Rob. But anyway. At least we add some humor to the sadness of his death. He's passed away.
At
the end of the day,
that's cool though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what can you do more?
That's cool though, Rob. That your friend, what's his name?
This Grego Pilasha. He's typing me something right now. I don't know yet.
Well, what I wanted to say is that's cool that he knows some of that music that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll show you the text messages once we're done. But.
Yeah, no. That's cool, though, man. Shout out to him. What's his name again?
Grego.
Actually,
his name in my phone is Suka. That's how I learned a couple Polish words I know.
So shout out to Grego, a.k.a. Suka.
Grego, Jezek, Martek, fucking, yeah.
Shout out to all of them, man. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you, Bartek, is you lived in Bristol in England for a while, which is probably closer to the United States as far as like culture, or maybe like, it's Western Europe's a little closer to what America would be like, I would think. So how do you compare living in Poland to living in England, and maybe talk a little bit about the music scene there?
I mean, first and foremost, everything comes easy. People are helping you more because obviously you're a foreigner. They are just attracted by you, by differences. So they give you stuff. Let's say on a start, we had some help with finding a job, finding place to sleep. And sometimes people have been giving us things for free, which in Poland is not happening often just because people don't have that much. Because they just don't have to give. And wealthy people, obviously, it's worldwide. They don't want to give you a shit. Because that's how it is. Yeah, but just those good people, sometimes in Poland, they don't have enough just to give you, to give you something. I like English people got just lots of things which are just unused by them, Or sometimes, it's easier for them just to share because they are, you can feel that they are much more wealthy. So when it comes to everyday life, everything comes easy. Finding a job, making a new relation, what you can find hard on the start. There is a big difference, I think, when it comes to cultural differences.
Yeah.
What I mean, we are very upfront, straight up, really like talkative and in your face. English are, as everybody knows, are reserved, are kind of soft spoken rather, and this is what makes the difference, a cultural clash. But actually, it's kind of funny. It's not making any problems or nothing. It's just funny. There's a difference, when you just come in, you have to just feel it and kind of readjust, if I can say so.
We experience the same stuff kind of here. I mean, whether you go down, if you go down south, and comparing to where we live in New England, it's totally different. People's personalities.
Yeah, it's like a different world.
Here, it's like hurry up, fuck you, and down there, everybody takes the time and wants to talk to you.
Yeah, it's called Southern hospitality. Now, Bartek, would you say that obviously, living in Bristol was probably more culturally diverse than living in Poland?
I mean, I would say that, Chris, not even culturally diverse. I mean, Bristol is known in the whole world as a blueprint of some kind of music.
Right.
So basically, I was very conscious choosing Bristol as a country of destination. Mm-hmm. As I'm saying, I was born in Poland, but reborn in Bristol.
Okay.
What I meant by that, guys, I choose Bristol specifically because of music scene. Because before coming to England, I had experience of being in London because my girlfriend been living there for a couple months and earning some money in Brixton. So I knew the flavor already, but I thought London is just much too big for me. Just to travel around and just make a happy living. So I thought I will choose a smaller city, but much more diverse and much more colorful. And if I can say, not exactly maybe peaceful, but more arty, more artistic,
Yep.
And Bristol got Bristol is taken as one of the most colorful or vibrant, alive, artistic, musical cities of UK. And actually, I've been in some places around Europe, and I can easily say that this is one of the most influential places when it comes to music in the whole Europe,
Yeah, man, sounds like a cool place to
London
to go to,
hang around. Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
London is huge. London is huge. Is a multi-million city. Is a huge influence, but because of the size. But when you compare with a size, Bristol to London, it feels like a village. But then in this village, you got so many diverse music all over, from drum and bass, from electronics, unusual electronics, to live music made on the street, like folk music, like combination of all those musics all together, like trip hop. Trip hop, in a way, I think is still existing. Right now it's more existing in the beats of some, rappers, or maybe in the beats of some music which is used to documentaries or onto different projects which got something with film. But you got all kinds of music in Bristol, and you got a lot of pubs and clubs, in which music is played, often for free. You know, you don't have to even pay for the entrance.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool place, man. I would definitely like to. I mean, right now, obviously, there's no show scene at all. Right. So,
but no cover.
That's
yeah, no cover. I mean, that is that's cool.
That ain't happening out here.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
You're paying.
But also, Bristol, right? You mentioned drum and bass, so that's Bristol is pretty much the birthplace of drum and bass for those, and jungle, right? For those that don't know, I know I like some of that stuff. I like Ronnie Size and. There's a whole bunch of other drum and bass artists, which is like electronic. You know, EDM is the popular electronic music in the States and maybe everywhere. I don't know, but drum and bass is more, I guess, grimy, more gritty, more of a hip hop feel, but it's sped up. You know, it's that house music kind of sound.
Yeah, and there was a garage music in the past, and you got even kinds of music which are hard to describe with cliches, you know, that we got. You just have to, you know, come there and feel it. I mean, the city feels alive. And what is interesting, guys, what makes it different than other cities, even if it got how many? It got, I think, around 700,000. So it is not small, but listen to that. It feels, in a way, like a positive way, like a eco village, like an ecological village.
Okay.
It don't feel sometimes as a city. Even if it's a city, I will say it still got a flavor of a village, but I don't know. Probably you will translate it as a country, like a countryside feeling, like a laid back,
yep.
Really chilled, really like how you call it. I mean, it gives a different feel. Nothing to compare. I was in many cities all over, and never ever I felt anything close to what I felt in Bristol, even in different cities in the UK, you know. Very unique.
Yeah, man, sounds like it. And one day when this COVID thing settles down, I plan on
taking a trip.
I'm taking a trip I'm going to go to Bristol, then I'm going to go over to see Bartek over in Poland. I don't want to mispronounce the name of your town, but tell me one more time.
Inowroclaw.
What is it?
Inowroclaw.
Inowroclaw. I got to work on that.
Inowroclaw. Yeah, exactly. Got it.
So I'll be going there.
Yeah, got it.
And hopefully...
I stop at Amsterdam. I want to go to
Amsterdam, all over the world.
I want to see that red light district, son.
Oh, man. All right, so Bartek, let me ask you this last question here. What do you see for the future of music, the music scene in Poland and across the world with COVID and just the way the state of things in general?
I mean, I will tell you, I will give you two answers on this question. First, how I would like to see it, and I think how it's going to be, okay?
Yep.
All right. So I would like to see it the same as it was. I mean, we are meeting, speaking, visiting countries, touring all over the world, recording rather in groups. Everything is open, freely, and all that.
Just pretty much like it was to rewind a year and a half, and we're good. Exactly. Go bring me back.
Exactly, Rob. Bring me back. And I mean, mostly music on CDs, tapes, vinyls, not exactly streaming.
Yeah.
Way back.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong.
But unfortunately, because of COVID, I think music might go different way. I mean, auto-tune, selling music only through internet, not putting out almost no albums physically. Hopefully the music will not be less physical, because this is what we really need as a human beings, to be more physical in any sense. You know?
I agree with you. I agree. We need to be more connected to each other.
More because we are all wired and we just need connection, man.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to be physical, what is it going to be? I don't want to be, put into a computer with whole data and everything will be sounding, really perfect, but electronic. Nothing is going to be alive, and there's going to be less and less physical contact. So hopefully music will not go to the internet only, and it's not going to be only stream. Hopefully we're going to meet up and exchange the CDs hand to hand, give a handshake, look in the eye, tap on the back, and then go to a bar, go to a park, drink, smoke, just breathe the air, speak, whatever you like, but just be real and be present and be physical, and not be like in this unreal world controlled by governments at the end of the day,
Exactly.
Yeah,
like big media, like like Apple, Facebook, and all that, So
yeah, I agree.
So I want to just come back to normal, really, because it was great how it was. Now I'm appreciating it, I'm not complaining at all now, I'm just shutting my mouth.
Yeah.
I just want everything to go back, That's it.
Yeah,
That's how it looks to be,
You can be optimistic about some stuff. I learned how to live differently.
Oh yeah, pretty much everybody has.
I haven't been to work in a year.
Yeah.
I just went back. So in that time, you kind of learn how to live within your means, where other things you took for granted for.
Yeah, and I think
exactly.
To speak on
the lesson, for all of us, isn't it?
Yep. A lot of time to reflect on life too.
Yep.
And another thing too is you said with the music now. You mentioned CDs and cassettes and vinyl. Unfortunately, the streaming had taken over before COVID, and I don't personally think it'll ever go back to how it was pre-streaming, pre-digital age. But I will say this. Let me say this, though, on the flip side, on the positive, is recently in Bartek, I think I sent you some video and pictures when I was there. I went to a record store recently. Well, I'll just say it, Newberry Comics. Yeah. And that used to be a cool fucking record store that I used to go to and get CDs and all kinds of shit, movies.
Yeah. You told me, I remember.
They had a lot of underground stuff. They had a lot of hardcore. They had a lot of independent hip-hop.
Commercial.
And what happened was they evolved over time to sell more novelties, more clothing, and less music. And now, but I will say this. I was just in there, and I would say that I was kind of pleasantly surprised that vinyl is still a big seller, or at least a big enough seller to have its own vinyl section in the store. There's no more CDs. There's no more any other hard forms of music there, but people are still buying vinyl, and new artists and bands and labels are putting out vinyl. So vinyl is still alive. Yeah. So even though CDs are dead, tapes are dead, and mostly everything is streaming and digital, vinyl has survived. You know what I'm saying? Vinyl's like the fucking coyote of music. You know what I'm saying?
Where's there a Newberry Comics out here?
In the mall, in Providence Place.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought that was Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, upstairs. Yeah. That's right. Oh,
yeah, and I don't know if the other ones are open. There was one in Warwick. There was one in North Attleboro. I don't know if those are open. But the one in the mall, I was like, cool. I was like, okay. And I actually bought.
Gave you some faith.
Yeah, it did. and I knew vinyl is still popular. Like, I know there's people who collect vinyl, but I think the kids now are getting into vinyl. You know what I'm saying? Which is dope. So at least as an artist, I could say, well, if I get popular enough, I can press up vinyl, and maybe some kids will buy it. You know what I'm saying?
The only problem with vinyl, as we talked about on another episode, is expensive.
Well, I bought a record for $20.
No, expensive to produce.
Oh, to produce, yeah. It is more expensive, and it's not as convenient to play. Like, you can't put a record player in your car. You can't put a turntable in your car.
No, put on Pandora and Bluetooth.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's not like CDs and tapes where you could play it in your car. And
the cars now don't even get fucking cassette players or CD players.
No, definitely not. Cassette players. And the new cars being made don't even have CD players. No. But at least, though, at the very least, it shows you that there are kids out there that are buying record players, turntables, and buying vinyl. So at least there's something. You know, so I appreciate that.
That is a positive outlook, because otherwise they wouldn't be there just like CDs are.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So that's the one positive I see from what Bartek brought up. That's something that I'm staying positive about, you know. And maybe, who knows, maybe we'll have another form of hard music one day, or maybe CDs will make a comeback. I don't know.
Maybe DJs will start using vinyl.
Yeah, imagine that.
I can't.
I might do, you know. In Poland, vinyls are also very popular right now. It started about 10 years ago, but it blew out really 5 years ago. And right now, in grocery shops, which is the biggest grocery shop in Poland, Biedronka, you can buy really nice CDs for a quite affordable price, and quite expensive, unfortunately, vinyls, but really great records. It's in the grocery shop. You will believe it? It's unbelievable for me, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You are just buying your apples, your bread, your let's say, your vodka, or your wine, or beer, whatever you drink. And then you are buying... spiritual thing, and then you are buying a vinyl to yourself and a CD, let's say, for your daughter, or for your girlfriend, or for your wife, you know, or for your, mom, you know. What a great thing, you know. I think music, actually, in my opinion, music should be available everywhere. Everywhere.
I agree.
I mean, we got it. I'll tell you how it is in Poland. We got it on the gas station, CDs. We got them in the grocery shops, those Biedronkas, or not only, big shops also, like big supermarkets. And in Poland, cassettes are not existing. I know that they are coming back in States, in small labels.
Yes.
Small labels are putting the cassettes back on a track. And people are really into it, especially independent listeners, independent labels.
Yeah, it's a
vinyls
novelty.
Are all over. It's novelty. It came again, but vinyls went back. But I'll tell you, in Poland, CDs are still, I think, the most selling record. It's not that bad.
Really?
You're going to see if you're going to come.
Well, maybe
I'll show you.
Maybe when I come, I'll press up a bunch of CDs and I'll bring them with me and try to sell them when I'm there.
I'll tell you, we're gonna sell it around my folks, you know.
Yeah, man.
No problem with that. No, believe me.
Yeah, man. Well, Bartek, any last words? Anything else that you want to say to the people listening out there?
No, I just want to say, all the guys and girls, you know, keep it up. Don't worry about COVID, really, because we all have to go through it. Everybody in each case, but we're gonna make it, and keep it up with good music and good positive thinking, good health and PMA, positive mental attitude, like I was saying to Chris recently. I'm just glad that we are contributing and exchanging things between States and Polska.
Yes, sir.
Watch out for us, because we're going to exchange. If you need any help with traveling or touring or any help in Poland, just, hit me up. Let me know as much as possible. I'm going to try to help you. And just all the best, really, All the best for your families, guys, also.
Thank you.
Well, same to you, Bartek. It was great talking to you, and I look forward to making the trip. Maybe Rob will join me.
Yeah, I'm coming, motherfucker.
I look forward to making the trip to Poland, and I also look forward to the time when you come to the States so we can show you around.
Oh, yeah.
I will.
So I will. That was great. Everybody, Bartek Podogrodzki, straight from Poland. That was a great conversation. Polska, you already know, represent. And Bartek, we'll talk soon, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Street Corner Soapbox, we're fucking out of here.
Peace.
Yeah, Polska represent. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. That's right, boys and girls. Street Corner Soapbox.
Now, we all know during this crazy time with the pandemic, businesses are struggling. So we're here to support local businesses, and we need your help to do so also.
That's right. So subscribe to our Patreon, become a member to help support the show, and receive exclusive episodes and bonus content, as well as discounts on merch. That's patreon.com/streetcorner_soapbox2020.
Follow us on our website, streetcornersoapbox.com.